Hello and welcome to the Dr. English channel.
We're so glad you could join us today.
Hey everyone, a very warm welcome back to Dr. English channel. I'm your host, Igor, and honestly, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today as we dive into another really practical lesson designed to help you truly master everyday English.
And I'm Karina. Oh my gosh, it is so wonderful to be back here in the studio with you, Igor. And of course, a huge enthusiastic hello to all of you amazing listeners tuning in from literally every corner of the world. We are genuinely so happy that you chose to spend some of your valuable time learning with us today.
We really do appreciate it so much. You know, today's episode is specifically designed with our beginners in mind, those of you at the A1 level who are just starting out and want to begin speaking confidently about your daily life. We've chosen a topic that is both super simple and incredibly useful: daily routines.
That's absolutely right, Igor. We're going to talk about all the things we do every single day. You know, from the very moment we open our eyes in the morning until we finally close them again and drift off to sleep at night. This is honestly a fantastic way to learn some basic but essential verbs and vocabulary that you will literally use in almost every conversation you have.
Exactly. These are the building blocks of everyday communication. But hey, before we jump into the exciting details of our typical day, we have that small but important favor to ask all of you wonderful listeners.
Yes, if you're enjoying learning English with us and you want to see more helpful content like this, please take just 1 second to remember to subscribe to Dr. English channel. It really helps us out.
Absolutely. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends, your family members, your classmates, or anyone else you know who's also on their English learning journey. Give us a thumbs up. It genuinely really helps the channel grow and continue, and it allows us to keep making these free lessons for all of you.
We also absolutely love hearing from you. Please feel free to leave a comment down below telling us about your typical day. What does your routine look like? We want this to be an active, interactive community where we can all learn from each other.
Perfect. So, Karina, are you ready to talk about what we actually do during a typical day? All the little things that make up our lives?
I'm totally ready, Igor. Let's start right at the very beginning, the crack of dawn. Let's talk about the morning routine. What is literally the first thing you do when you wake up?
Well, the very first thing I do, and I think most people in the world can relate to this, is simply wake up. I don't have a choice, really. I usually wake up around 7 a.m. on weekdays. I've found that 7 is a pretty good, balanced time to start my day. Not too early, not too late. What about you, Karina? When do you typically wake up?
Oh, I'm actually a bit different from you. I tend to wake up a little bit earlier, usually around 6:30 a.m., sometimes even 6:15 if I have a lot to do that day.
Wow, 6:30. You're definitely an early bird, Karina. For those of you listening who don't know, early bird is actually a really common idiom. It describes someone who genuinely likes to get up very early in the morning. The full expression is the early bird catches the worm, which means people who wake up early have an advantage.
That's true. I do feel like I get more done when I wake up early. Now, waking up is just the beginning, right? After I wake up and my alarm stops screaming at me, the next step is to actually physically get out of bed.
Yes, get out of bed is such an important phrase for beginners to learn because waking up is really just opening your eyes and becoming conscious. But getting out of bed means your feet are finally touching the floor and you're vertical. You're actually standing up and starting your day.
Exactly. That's an important distinction. And honestly, sometimes getting out of bed is the hardest part of my entire day. Especially on cold winter mornings when it's so cozy under the blankets.
I totally understand that feeling. The bed is just so comfortable. But eventually, we have to face reality. Once I'm finally out of bed, I head straight to the bathroom. This is where I start my morning hygiene routine, which is super important.
Yes, the bathroom routine. So what exactly do you do in the bathroom, Igor?
Well, first I brush my teeth thoroughly. That's always the first thing. Gotta have fresh breath. Then I wash my face with cold water to help wake myself up. Sometimes I also take a quick shower if I have enough time.
Those are all very common, universal morning actions. Brush my teeth and wash my face. These are two essential phrases you'll use literally every single day of your life. I do exactly the same things. After the bathroom, where do you usually go next?
After that, I go to the kitchen. The kitchen is calling my name at that point because I'm usually pretty hungry.
Ah, yes, the kitchen, the absolute heart of every home. What do you typically do in the kitchen so early in the morning?
I usually make breakfast. I'm a firm believer that breakfast is genuinely the most important meal of the day. It gives you energy for everything else. For me personally, I often have coffee and toast. Pretty simple and quick to prepare. Sometimes, if I'm feeling healthy and motivated, I'll add some fresh fruit like a banana or an apple, or maybe some orange juice.
Coffee and toast. Simple, classic, and delicious. My breakfast routine is actually a little bit different from yours. I usually prefer tea over coffee because coffee makes me too jittery, and I typically have some cereal with cold milk. It's lighter and faster for me.
That sounds nice and easy. Do you have a favorite type of cereal?
I do. I really like granola with yogurt and berries. It's healthy and tasty at the same time.
Ooh, that does sound good. So let's take a moment to review what we've covered so far. We've woken up, gotten out of bed, gone to the bathroom, washed up, made and eaten breakfast. What comes next in your typical Dr. English morning routine, Karina?
After breakfast, the next step for me is to get dressed for the day.
Right, get dressed means you put on your clothes, correct?
Exactly. I go to my bedroom or closet and I choose my clothes for the day. Maybe a nice shirt or blouse, some comfortable trousers or jeans, socks, everything. And then I physically put them on my body, one piece at a time.
And if you're preparing to leave the house to go somewhere, you also have to put on your shoes, right?
Yes. And if it's chilly outside or raining, I might also put on a coat or jacket and maybe grab an umbrella. Put on is such a useful phrasal verb to remember because you use it for so many different items of clothing.
Very good point. Then, after I'm completely ready and dressed, I usually leave the house to start my workday.
So, when you leave the house in the morning, Igor, where do you usually go? What's your destination?
I usually go to work. I work in an office building downtown, so I have a bit of a commute. What about you, Karina? Do you have the same kind of routine?
Mine is actually a bit of a mix, which is nice. Sometimes I work from home in my pajamas, which is honestly the best, but other times I also go to a physical office. It's interesting to see how routines can change dramatically depending on where you're actually working.
That's very true. Working from home versus going to an office are two completely different experiences. How do you get to the office when you do go? Do you drive, take public transport, or walk?
I usually take the subway because parking is expensive and difficult in the city. It takes me about 25 minutes. What about you?
I drive because the office is a bit far from where I live. It takes about 30 minutes if traffic is good, but sometimes up to 45 minutes if there's a lot of traffic.
Ugh, traffic can be so frustrating. Okay, let's quickly recap those morning action verbs for our listeners one more time because they're so important. Wake up, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, wash my face, take a shower, go to the kitchen, make breakfast, have breakfast, drink coffee or tea, get dressed, put on shoes, put on a coat, leave the house, and go to work.
That is a really comprehensive, useful list, Karina. These are absolutely essential verbs for anyone starting out with English. Now, let's talk about what actually happens during the workday itself. When you arrive at the office, what do you do?
Well, when I first arrive, I usually say good morning to my colleagues, maybe chat for a minute or two about the weather or the news. Then I sit at my desk and turn on my computer to start working.
Same here. At work, I usually sit at my desk for most of the day and work on my computer. It's primarily digital work in the modern world. I spend a lot of time checking and answering emails, writing detailed reports, and creating presentations.
Sitting at a desk, working on a computer, answering emails and writing reports, I think probably many of our listeners do these exact same activities in their own jobs. It's very common nowadays.
I think you're absolutely right. The digital workplace is everywhere now. And sometimes it's not just solo work at your desk. I also regularly have meetings with my colleagues and my manager.
Ah, yes, meetings.
have meetings or attend meetings. For those who might not know this word, a meeting is when multiple people get together, either in person in a conference room or online via video call, to discuss and talk about work projects, problems, or plans.
Exactly. Some meetings are short, like 15 minutes, and others can be really long, like 2 hours. Now, Karina, you mentioned earlier that you sometimes work from home. Is your workday different on those days?
If I work from home, I still sit at my desk and use my computer just like at the office, but the atmosphere is much more relaxed and comfortable. My tasks might be slightly different too. I might write articles for our blog, prepare lessons and scripts for our Dr. English students, or edit videos. And of course, I have online meetings on Zoom or other platforms instead of in-person ones in a conference room.
That sounds very productive and comfortable. I like the flexibility of working from home. But listen, we can't possibly work all day long without taking a break at some point. Our brains need rest. Usually around midday, somewhere between 12 and 1 p.m., I stop working and have lunch.
Lunchtime, the best time of day. What's your typical go-to lunch, Igor? What do you usually eat?
I try to keep it relatively light and healthy so I don't get too sleepy and tired in the afternoon. You know that feeling after a huge, heavy meal where you just want a nap? I often have a sandwich with chicken or turkey, or maybe a fresh salad with vegetables and some protein.
A sandwich or a salad sounds very healthy and smart. Sometimes I pack my lunch from home the night before, which is a great way to save money and control what I'm eating. But other times, especially on Fridays, I like to go out to eat at a restaurant with friends or colleagues. It's a nice social break.
Go out to eat is definitely a fun treat and a good way to socialize. But after lunch is finished and the break is over, we usually go back to work at our desks until the end of the workday arrives.
How long is your typical workday, Igor?
I usually work from about 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 or 6 p.m., so that's about 8 or 9 hours with the lunch break included. Pretty standard.
The end of the workday is always such a nice transition, isn't it? What happens after work for you, Igor? What's the first thing you do?
After work is finished, I have that wonderful feeling. I finally get to go home. There's honestly nothing quite like walking through your front door after a long, exhausting day of work. It's such a relief.
I totally agree. That feeling of being home is just the best. So, what's the first thing you do when you finally get home and close that door behind you?
Well, it really depends on how tired I am. Sometimes I'm so exhausted that I just need to immediately collapse on my comfortable sofa and watch TV for a while. It really helps me switch off my work brain and transition into relaxation mode.
That sounds very relaxing indeed. I totally understand that need to decompress. I also enjoy doing that, but I also have to start thinking about food pretty quickly because I get hungry. Often when I get home, one of the first things I need to do is cook dinner for myself.
I like to cook dinner too, although I have to admit I'm definitely not a professional chef by any means. Sometimes I usually make something pretty simple and straightforward, like pasta with tomato sauce, or maybe a warm soup with vegetables and chicken.
Pasta and soup are such classic, easy comfort food meals. I also like to cook dinner, and sometimes I even feel adventurous and try out new recipes I find online or on cooking shows. It's like a little hobby for me, a creative outlet after a day of work.
That's fun and creative. Do you ever cook with music playing in the background?
Always. I love having music on while I cook. It makes the whole process more enjoyable. But okay, after all the cooking and eating is done, there's one household task that I think we both probably dislike quite a bit.
Let me guess, you're talking about washing the dishes?
Exactly. After dinner, I always have to wash the dishes and clean up the kitchen. It's definitely not my favorite activity in the world, but it's something that absolutely has to be done to keep the kitchen clean and hygienic.
I'm exactly the same way. I don't enjoy it at all, but it's just part of the daily routine. To make up for that unpleasant task, I try to do something I genuinely love afterward as a little reward. I might read a book for pleasure or call my family and friends on the phone to catch up with them.
Those are such wonderful evening activities. Talking to family and friends is so important for staying connected and maintaining relationships, especially if they live far away. For me, I sometimes video chat with my parents who live in a different city.
That's so nice. Technology makes it much easier to stay in touch nowadays. For me, if the weather's nice and it's not too dark yet, I sometimes go for a walk in the evening around my neighborhood.
Oh, that's excellent exercise and fresh air, Igor. Walking is such great, simple exercise.
It really is. I find it very peaceful and it helps me think clearly. Or if I'm feeling a bit lazy and tired, I might just stay home and listen to music while I relax on the couch.
What kind of music do you typically like to listen to in the evening?
I like many different genres and artists, but since it's late and I'm winding down, I usually choose something relaxing and calm. Maybe some jazz or classical music to help me mentally prepare for sleep.
That sounds lovely and peaceful. Music really does affect our mood. And what is the very final part of your routine before you close your eyes and go to sleep?
Before actually going to bed, I always brush my teeth again, just like I did in the morning. Gotta maintain that dental hygiene.
A very good and important habit. Oral hygiene is so important for your health. And then finally, after a long day, comes the moment we've all been waiting for. You go to bed and hopefully get some good sleep. What time do you usually go to bed, Igor?
I try to go to bed around 10:30 or 11 p.m. at the latest. I find if I go to bed any later than that, I'm way too tired and groggy the next morning, and the whole day feels off.
That's a very sensible, responsible bedtime. I'm a bit of a night owl, unfortunately, so I usually go to bed a little later than you, around 11:30 p.m. or sometimes even midnight if I'm watching a really good show or reading an exciting book.
As long as you're getting enough hours of sleep, that's what matters. Most adults need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep to function properly.
You know, Igor, we've been talking about a typical weekday routine, but what about weekends? Are your Saturdays and Sundays different?
Oh, absolutely. Weekends are completely different for me. On weekends, I wake up much later, usually around 9 or even 10 a.m. No alarm clock. I let my body wake up naturally.
That sounds like heaven. What do you do with your weekend free time?
Well, I still have breakfast and do my hygiene routine, but then the day is open. Sometimes I do household chores like cleaning my house or doing laundry. Other times I meet friends for lunch or go to the movies.
I love the freedom of weekends. I usually sleep late too. And then I might go shopping for groceries or visit a museum or just spend time on my hobbies like painting.
That's the beauty of weekends. You have more control over your time. So, to really summarize everything we've talked about today, we've covered the entire day from start to finish. Everything from waking up and getting ready in the morning, going to work or working from home, having lunch, finishing the workday, going home, relaxing and having dinner, and finally going to bed for a good night's sleep.
We really did cover so many useful, practical everyday actions. Let's do a quick, lightning-fast review of all the key verbs and phrases we've used today so our listeners can hear them one more time and really let them sink in. Morning, wake up, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, brush teeth, wash face, take a shower, go to the kitchen, make breakfast or have breakfast, drink coffee or tea, get dressed, put on shoes or put on a coat, leave the house. Work, go to work, drive to work or take the subway, sit at my desk, turn on my computer, work on my computer, check emails, answer emails, write reports, create presentations, have meetings, attend meetings, write articles, prepare lessons, have lunch or eat lunch. Evening, finish work, go home, relax or rest, watch TV, cook dinner, eat dinner, wash the dishes, clean the kitchen, read a book, talk to family and friends, call someone or video chat, go for a walk, listen to music, brush teeth, go to bed or go to sleep.
Wow, that is truly a fantastic, comprehensive list, Karina. These are genuinely the building blocks of daily English communication, because these are things that absolutely everyone does regularly, regardless of where they live or what language they speak. Learning these phrases is super helpful and practical for beginners.
Absolutely. And remember, dear listeners, you can use these exact same phrases to talk about your own personal day.
We really want you to practice actively. Try to think carefully about what you do from the very moment you wake up until you go to sleep at night, and practice saying those actions out loud in English, even if you're alone, just talking to yourself.
That is excellent advice. You can even write it down in a journal or diary. Writing really helps your brain remember and internalize the words and the sentence structures much better than just listening alone. The act of writing engages a different part of your brain.
Exactly, and please don't worry at all if you don't know every single word yet or if you make mistakes. Just try your best with the verbs and phrases we learned today. You will learn more and more vocabulary each day as you continue to study and practice with us here at Dr. English Channel.
That's so true. Learning a new language is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, patience, and consistent practice. Be patient and kind with yourself and celebrate your progress and improvements, no matter how small they might seem to you. Every single new word you learn is a victory. Every sentence you can say is an achievement.
That's such genuinely good, encouraging advice, Igor. Well, I think we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. I really hope our listeners found this detailed breakdown of daily routines helpful and educational.
I hope so too, Karina. It was a lot of fun talking about our routines with you and sharing these practical tips. And to all of our wonderful listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us today on Dr. English Channel. We truly appreciate you spending your valuable time with us.
Yes, thank you all so much. And if you enjoyed this lesson and found it useful, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a future episode. We have so much more great content coming.
Share this with your friends and family. Leave us a comment down below about your typical day in English. We'd love to read about your routines. And tell us what other topics you want us to cover in future episodes. We read every single comment and we value your feedback immensely.
Until next time, keep practicing your English every single day, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, wherever you are in the world.
Bye for now. Take care.
Goodbye and happy learning.